We can't change the past. We can't change the criminal act, but we can change ourselves. And then once we change ourselves, become powerful enough to make sure the system of oppression and racism is changed. Marching and screaming and stuff like that that's why they're doing all these studies. But it's not going to change nothing. We've been through this already. We've been through the marching of the 60s and so forth. We've been there. They just, like I said, you put lipstick on a pig, it's still a pig. And just because they smiling at you, don't make think things are going to change, because they teaching their children this stuff. So things might get easier now, but in another 30, 40, it's going to rear its ugly head again. We have to chop off the head of the beast. And the only way you're going to do that is make sure that you are capable and educated enough and smart enough to not go for the okie doke and make the changes that are permanent for your future generations. Okay, this is certainly one of the most important implications of both their study and our own. Breaking the cycle of intergenerational poverty for Black Americans requires a transformation in the economic outcome for Black men, particularly in terms of earnings. Sisters, sit down, get this program. It's an investment. It's listen, it's priceless. The program is priceless. And once you look in and see the price that I'm charging for it, come on now. You should be running toward it. One important point here, the relationship between earnings and marriage runs in both directions. Married men tend, other things equal, ceteris paribus, economics, all things remaining equal, married men tend to earn more. One study of identical twins suggests that being married raises earnings by 1/4. Married men may feel more responsibility to provide economically for their families, and especially their children. I remember when I got married, I had no intention of getting married, right? But then when my son came along, I said, "Hey, man, I gotta be responsible. I have a child right now," so that changed me. That made me more responsible. Some people go the other direction, see, but that made me more responsible. Low marriage rates may therefore have some impact on earnings. It is also clear that the vast inequalities by race cannot be alleviated by upward mobility alone. Black girls are, relatively speaking, more likely to move out of poverty in terms of their own earnings. However, we should keep in mind the sheer number of Black children being raised in low-income households in the first place. Closing the race gap in upward mobility will require wholesale shifts in economic outcomes, perhaps above all for men's earnings, right? So our Black men, we got to get it together. We got to get it together. And I remember thinking back the Million Man March. Come on, we get 1 million Black men that can slow down, get their minds right, get their pockets right, and put this hustle mentality aside. So everybody got their own hustle. But being able to maintain that income and grow that income and be able to understand finance. Everybody should be a CEO of their own life. They should be a chief, not only be a chief education operating officer, a CEO, chief executive officer, but you need to be a chief education officer too. And the first department of health, education, and welfare was the home. So we have to make sure that our Department of Health, Education, and Welfare is the home. We need to put education back in the home. We need to make sure that our children are prepared. Make sure that they pay attention in school. That's exercising the brain, exercising the mind. We need to get it together. That's why I got this program. Boardwalk School of Economics, a university in your home program. Let's come together. Let's work together. Let's make this fun. It's like a sporting event. You got to have a team. Everybody got to have their part. First of all, you have to be competent individual within your own right. And then you have to put together that team, that winning team. And that's what I'm trying to do right here. I'm giving back. I spent my life thinking about this moment right here to make sure that my people can get educated, so we can pull ourselves out. I worked in many finance departments going there, and they didn't know what the heck they was doing, putting together a financial system so they can track costs and track profitability and make sure that their time cards were being filled out properly so we can track costs and making sure that these programs are working properly from a project management point of view. We need to do the same thing in our households, in our community, because life is a business. And we have to keep God first. So we've been affected by this greed is good mentality. See? And we smelling and we falling behind them, taking the peanuts out of their crap. Sniffing behind them. And we've been poisoned. We need to stop. And just because you're poor and don't have income doesn't mean that something's wrong. We need to put that nonsense aside. Faking it till you make it. Trying to look good on the outside but empty on the inside. That's the most ridiculous thing. Because you're faking it on the outside, you're not doing anything to change that. You just keep faking it. That's why people scam you. Everywhere you turn, it's a scam. Everybody trying to scam you, getting paid, because they haven't done anything in their life. And you listen to these, look at these gangster videos and so forth, telling you if you see somebody else, they out there hustling, and this one hustler thinks, I'm gonna take him out so I can have what he got. What kind of nonsense is that? What kind of nonsense is that? First of all, he used his brain and his hard work to get where he was going. And you think by taking him out, you're gonna get what he got? That don't make sense. And then you out there destroying other families so you can feed your family. And remember that you're going to pay for that one day. You're going to pay for that one day. And you got parents teaching their kids how to be stick-up kids because that's the only way they can pay their rent. Come on now. That we can do better. All right now. I'm trying to keep this short. We're going to move on to the next section here. And I love you guys, and we just got to do better. And it'll be a beautiful thing if we can learn to work together. We should be angry enough to sit down and work together and learn this material. I have a complete 18-month crash course to get it going. And it's a lifelong ministry that we can work together and grow together and see the face of God in each other, because we're going to have a positive cash flow. And when you see somebody, you're going to be able to pull them up and help them, lend them a helping hand so you can pull them up so they can bless themselves, bless you, and bless other people. And I put together a program, and once you go through it, you'll see how it's a blessing program. Not only is it an educational program, it's a blessing program. And it always amazing to me when you go to my university program, I have my autobiography there, and I try to break down my journey so the young people can see what I went through and the goals that I set and the things that you have to do in order to build up your life, right? But when we're talking about reparations, this is a reparations program, but we have to use the resources that we spend and throw away in order to get more. So basically what we're doing is we're making sure our bucket ain't got no holes in it. And so we can go ahead and get some more of these resources. See? Because the handouts is making us weak. Just like Afghanistan now. We done crippled them. That they can't even take care of themselves. And the only people that's going to be in charge now are the ones who banded together, working together, and they're going to inherit the system because they're taking it over. They're taking over the system. Right? So we talk about reparations. I'm like, man, if black people get, each person get $1 million, what are you going to do with it? Because you don't know what to do with it. You're just going to go buy stuff. And they're going to get it right back in a couple weeks. But I'm going to teach you about finance and economics, real finance and economics, not consumer finance and economics. Not credit repair. Credit repair has its place. But I'm going to teach you how to a wealth index, how to create wealth. And credit plays into that because you got to get your house in order. So you got to get your budget in order. But we want to know how to build wealth. And the whole key component is that when you get yourself together, we want to make sure our children are whole as well. Because you got to train the children. You got to pass it off like a baton. And one of the track teams didn't win the gold because the baton handoff wasn't good. And I ran track. I'm like, bro, you running track and stuff. And I guess they just put the team together overnight. But the baton, you got to train for that. You got to pass that baton off. And it has to be smooth transition. And that's why we're at the bottom of the socio-economic ladder. And our politicians are worthless because they stacking chips for themselves and they not redirecting wealth to the communities and so forth. But in our homes, our buckets got holes in it. We're not playing the game right. The game of life. This is serious. We still got slavery, this industrial prison complex here. We need to abolish slavery. But first of all, we have to stop filling up these institutions with knuckleheads. And I know a lot of these parents, they try to teach their children good, sound principles and so forth like that. And a lot of them don't because they don't know. And the children, once they get to a certain age, 12, 13, it should kick in for themselves. They should know what the right thing to do is. So we want to teach them. And the program that I have for the young people, it will instill in them personal responsibility so that they can become the best person that they can be. So they know the importance of education, the importance of wanting to know how to read and write and do their mathematics. I read one article where they taking math out to school and because the kids can't graduate because they can't pass it. So we following after them. We've gone off the cliff. We need to stop and say, hold on. Our people created civilization. We created the civilization they mimicking right now. And they making sure that our minds are dark. Because when your minds are dark, you become like beasts of the field. And that's what's going on right now. So let's get it together. I love you guys. Excuse the passion. No, not excuse the passion. I mean this. I hope it's contagious. And let's look for the next lesson to come out. All right. Peace. Love you. Bye.